This one right here, the problem with live service games. Let's react to it.
What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here.
Sup, man?
And today I'm posting my very first live service video. I've come to the conclusion that finishing my work before making it publicly available, it just takes too long. It's too much time and effort, and you don't want to wait for content, do you? I need the views and money right now.
It's my money and I need it now!
So if the audio levels aren't balanced properly or it keeps cutting at random intervals, just know that I'm working on it.
Yep.
Because I'm also launching this brand new feature called Free to Watch Videos. That's right, unlike my OnlyFans, you don't have to pay me to watch garbage. However, I do know that the comment section is currently disabled. Rest assured, our teams are working on that. But I hope you keep coming back to this video to rewatch it every week. I've got a lot of great updates in store. Speaking of the store, did I mention my Patreon and OnlyFans?
Bro, is that the OG Xbox? The OG Xbox One, man. The first console. With a box. Damn. This is insane. And nice progress, by the way, man. Like, good form. Good physique.
Okay, is the joke dead?
Yes, get over that!
Right, the joke's dead. Live service video game. If you're like me, when you hear those words, you flinch a little. And if you hear early access before them, you probably start blowing chunks.
Yep.
Despite their lackluster reputation, live service games have become such a popular trend. It doesn't discourage.
The only good early access games I've experienced with is like The Forest. Like, it was truly worth it. Like winter experience, it's still bugged as fuck. Like the game is it is not clean from bugs, but the experience I had with it, it was definitely worth it with early access drama about it. But yeah,
Every developer
not
from
that bad
attempting to make
with
one.
some games.
I mean, literally, every single new release these days is promoted as an ongoing service. Indie fighting game? It's a live service now, boyo.
Yeah.
Single player RPG? Nope. That's a live service too. Now, let me be clear for a second. Gaming
They need to keep you addicted. That is why.
is in the best shape it's ever been. Developers have more tools, resources, and everything they need to make the best video game ever. Elden Ring, for example. The ability to update games post-launch inherently makes the whole industry better. With that out of the way, live service, unfortunately, is both a perk and a crutch. It is both a cigarette and an apple. Some developers are able to capitalize on this live service model in the best ways possible. Smash Bros. Ultimate, for example. Without a live service, my dream of seeing Banjo-Kazooie in Smash, it's gone. You can provide constant
Some games definitely need it.
bug fixes, new content that keeps players entertained for years. And who doesn't want that? But for some developers, the live service becomes a hindrance as they make grandiose promises of a living, breathing platform, only for that to flatline as the game turns into a ghost town.
50,000 people used to live here.
Anthem.
Now it's a ghost town.
Yep.
Live service games, or LSG, and games as a service is simply the idea that a game will get consistent updates and grow and evolve over time. On paper, this sounds like a no-brainer win, but were it so easy, as the old saying goes. Now, why has this type of game become such a popular trend? What are the problems with live service games, and what can they do
Because there are literally scientists who try to develop those games to be the most addicting they can be. That was a weird arrangement of words, I'm sorry. But you know what I mean.
All these questions and more will be answered after the sponsor of today's video. This video is sponsored by the Grand Mafia and bad Italian accents. I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. A chance to go from level 1 crook to level 100 mafia boss.
It's that game, no.
Wish you could beat the salami out of some bullshit mob bosses been giving you trouble? Well, now's your chance to prove it, kiddo. The Grand Mafia is an MMORTS game where any schlub like yourself can rise through the ranks of the criminal underbelly.
Bro,
Recruit
normally I say, yeah, go support that dude. He does nice content and shit, but come on, man. This game, I've installed it and it was complete garbage.
different homies, grow your gang, take over parts of the
Even
city.
even on the mobile level, this is still huge garbage. Like, it's insane.
expand your sphere of influence. Grand Mafia operates on international servers, making plan with people across
sorry,
the
man.
ocean a breeze. In Grand Mafia, only one faction can control and govern the city. And you better believe you got competition. You can download and play the Grand Mafia
Can't
for
promote
free.
this shit.
Go do it
I'm
right
sorry.
now. Use my special code TGMACTMAN to obtain unique rewards and participate
The
in
ads
the
were
Golden
nice, well.
November anniversary event. It's a big event where all the crime families meet up on a giant cruise and talk things over, if you get my drift. There's a bunch of mini games and a brand new Enforcer Bone Crusher. And don't forget to participate in the H5 minigame where you could win fabulous prizes like a PS5, Amazon gift card, all sorts of things. Download the Grand Mafia today. Come join my family. Check the link in the description and pin comment. And thanks to the Grand Mafia for sponsoring this video.
And now for something completely different.
I kind of want to wear this hat for the rest of the video. Now, before I empty my bowels on the corpse of Anthem and other failed live service games, we need to know why studios shifted to this business
Remember
model.
that
Why do we go from horse armor to this? Well, it's not hard to understand if you
I will never forgive the Infinite Store. Like,
understand business.
okay.
It's money.
It's just good business.
But you could also watch this chart of the top 15 games on Steam over the last 10 years or so. And what you'll
Live service
notice is
games.
almost all of them are
Yeah.
live service. Because even though The Witcher 3 and Elden Ring were some of the biggest, best games ever made, they still don't stay at the top.
Yeah, because the Elden Ring single player is great and shit, but the multiplayer was hot garbage. Like, holy shit. Why did they even implement it? They could have just added co-op, it would have been enough, but the multiplayer aspect, like the PvP aspect of Elden Ring is just shit. I think Dark Souls 3 was 10 times better in that regard. Like, you had different factions, different spells you needed to grind to, because you needed to kill, like, I don't know, maybe you needed to do, like, 20 invasions to get some unique item and shit. But that was completely gone in Elden Ring. So I think Elden Ring is just a good single-player experience and not a good multiplayer one. This is the reason why it's not on the highest played game tier list. Game list.
Top for very long. Elden Ring peaked at 952,000 concurrent players. And it's at 20,000. Okay, I can take the hat off now.
Yeah.
I mean, from 2012 to 2018, EA saw their company's value go from 4 billion to 33 billion. Activision Blizzard, 20 billion to 60 billion in the same time period. Both
Insane.
companies largely attributed this to their
Profits.
games as a service business model. LSGs have been around since the 90s with EverQuest. My first experience was in the early 2000s with World of Warcraft and everyone's favorite dating app, RuneScape. These MMORPGs with huge worlds and active player bases needed this kind of constant live support so that gamers would continue wasting their real lives building their virtual ones. You want to learn something
Yep.
new today, do ya? I'll learn you something. In 2003, on the original Xbox, the game Unreal Championship made history by becoming the first console game to get a post-launch update. According to one of the devs, work on this patch began roughly 3 to 4 weeks after the game shipped, and the decision to ship it came after reviewing the forums and hearing the feedback from fans about exploits that started to pop up. It's important
That's
to
great.
note that the idea of post-launch
Like, this was the first time they or these were the early times where we still couldn't like update games because they were on a fucking disk. There was no live service engine, and the first time this stuff happened, this actually this was a huge step, man.
Port, at least on consoles, began as a way to address fan feedback and fix problems that flew under the radar. Because, oh shit, we fucked up. You're not supposed to be flying across the map like that.
Yep.
Because back in the day when you complained about a game on a forum, you didn't expect anything to happen because the game was out. They couldn't do anything about it. I think once the Halo 2 map pack came out, that and Unreal Championship became the launch pad for live service games to really take off. Unlike my fucking vacuum cleaner, I've been waiting on the new update for this goddamn forsaken piece of shit. All you have to
Get it,
do is to
Dyson.
understand trends in business is follow the money. Why is Activision Blizzard suddenly taking an interest in all the sexual harassment allegations floating around their workplace? It's not because it's the right thing to do, it's because they're getting sued. Why are so many
Yep.
videos on YouTube exactly 10 minutes long? Money. Because that's when we can put mid-roll ads in. Why is every single company putting a battle pass into their video game? It's not because every player is like, yes, I love it. I love battle passes. No, it's because money. Because why settle for a one-time purchase when you could have more?
I was so disappointed with Overwatch 2 because I paid $60 for Overwatch 1. I bought it when it came out. Played it a few times, was fun and all. But when Overwatch 2 came out and the game was like free to play, I'm just thinking, bro, I spent $60 on this game. What do I get for it? Like nothing. I got Kiriko faster, like all heroes, but that was it. Like I was just disappointed that, yeah, don't want to talk about it.
Hi, Billy Mays here. Game production used to be a fire and forget kind of business. The game launches, it's out, that's it, fellas, pack it up, we're working on the next one. And
Yep.
honestly, if you're gonna put that much effort into creating a game, you want it to pay off. You want it to do well and last a long time. And money makes the world go round.
It's just good business.
So companies want to avoid the risk of investing millions of dollars and thousands of man hours into a product that only turns a profit when it comes out and never after that. That's why the business model evolved. It started with expansions, re-releasing the same game, just slightly different and with new stuff. Then it was DLC and map packs, horse armor, extra custom class slots,
The horse armor started it all.
microtransactions, loot boxes, season passes, and now battle passes. Inflation has risen, but the price of new games hasn't, unless you're Sony. You think you're better than everyone. Most consoles are sold at a loss of profit. Developer size and budgets have risen tremendously, and with that, expectations. Companies want to avoid big risks. If they can placate a game's disastrous launch by saying, oh, it's going to be live service, we're going to work on it, then that's what they'll do. Live service attempts to mitigate the risks and sunk costs of game development. Used to be, you bought a game, brought it home. If it was shitty, then it was just a shitty game, and that was it. But
Yeah.
then one night, you find yourself just staying awake thinking, man, maybe Superman 64 wouldn't have sucked gorilla balls if it was a live service. Nowadays, you're allowed
Imagine
to release
that.
bad or poorly optimized video games as long as you say, well, it's shitty now, but it might get better. Said every
Maybe.
developer of an early access survival game.
The thing is, they won't do about it. They will do nothing about it. Like there are so many things they just oversee and don't care because it doesn't really affect the money they get from the players. Like especially in like if there's a campaign to it, and especially with COD, like there's a campaign to it, and there's the multiplayer and some other modes which are pretty much irrelevant, and they are left in the dust, and no one cares about it. Like I was so disappointed with the other modes in COD. Like it was so much better back in the day, and I don't know why they aren't. Yeah, it is because of money.
Trust us, this one isn't a
That easy.
scam. I don't think anyone has the boomer hot takes that games were better when they were never updated. People that think that that's what you look like right there. In an ideal world, a live service would make every game better, objectively, right? I'd kill a man to get more maps in Mario Party 3. Live service experiences weren't so controversial when it was MMORPGs, but once games like Destiny, Fortnite, and Call of Duty started picking up the torch into the mainstream, well, that's when all hell broke loose. Updates, patches, and new content are essential to the live service business model, and it's become commonplace for new titles to have roadmaps, blog posts, video updates, interviews, hot fixes, new maps, patch notes, battle passes, seasons passes. We're taking out this character, we're putting that character back in.
The thing is, I think for multiplayer games, it is pretty much necessary. If they are not live service, they will die immediately.
Jeff Kaplan showed his ass hair on camera at once, saying it was going to be in Overwatch 2. And it's like, is the game finished yet? Can I have the fun? Is the fun now mine? The live service experience can easily get muddled and confusing to casual gamers. I already keep track of my bills, my insurance, and the decline of my physical well-being. I don't want to keep track of every update for every live service game. For example, when Halo has always had split-screen campaign co-op, and then one day it...
Why are they not able to implement that shit immediately? It is so important, especially for Halo. I wanted to play it with my friends. Like, I had I don't know, 2 or 3 other guys who also bought Halo and played the campaign and shit. We all played that shit single player because 343 just doesn't care. I don't know why they are not able to do something like this. Like they were back in the day. I know games got more complicated and shit, but this simple feature, I think they just don't care. Yeah.
Doesn't. It's like, sorry you didn't read blog post number 503-7.
And they said it will be there from the beginning. Like a split screen co-op was promised in Infinite.
See. Fuck you, by the way. On the flip side, when new seasons are coming out for an already existing game, that can generate a lot of hype. But staying up to date with live service games, particularly ones you're really invested in, can feel like reading a fucking manga. Like, miss one issue, and now you have no idea why a support hero can outduel Reinhardt. There's so many games and so many updates.
Bro, Brick at the
generally
beginning,
stick to like
when she was released, she was so broken. It was insanity.
one or a few live service games at a time, because there's such a big investment on the player's part, right? It's all the reward structures, the daily login bonuses, daily challenges, weekly challenges.
Yeah. We need that sound again in COD. I fucking love it. I would play it again if we would just implement the sound for every single reward you get and shit.
There's all this vaulting of content and limited time events. Everyone's trying to get you to feel like you're missing out. Remember to rewatch this video after you finish watching it for further memes. But it's like, are you really gonna stay committed to the Vanguard grind when Modern Warfare 2 is out right now? There's probably people still playing Vanguard. What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Nothing.
If done right, live service can be a saving grace and a guardian angel. Live service in early access means developers can release their game, gauge player interest, and make changes before putting all this fucking time and effort into a project. Because they might not be making a good game. Early access can help guide development towards the ideal finish line that the players and developers want to arrive at. The best case scenario you can hope for is to be Fortnite. A game so good at its live service, it's actually annoying. You just had to add Goku, huh? Knew I couldn't resist at that point. Epic Games has nailed the live service model better than anyone. A game like Vermin...
It's like such a meme. I don't know. I think Fortnite back in the day, like when it came out and shit, it still had some kind of soul to it. Like, I generally had fun at the beginning. Like, I'm not saying I hated the game and shit, but over the past years, I think it's just not. It is nothing for me. Like I just don't care about the new skins and shit. I don't know what it is, man, but it feels different.
Vermintide 2 likely would have died if Fat Shark wasn't pumping out consistent updates for it. Games that would have gotten old if new stuff wasn't added. Live service can provide a lot of benefits. Most important among them, giving developers more than one chance to make a statement. It was an economic decision at the end of the day. You gotta cut the bridge when you realize you can't make a lot of money on something. This is what EA CFO Blake Jorgensen said after the company shut down Visceral Studios and canceled their single-player Star Wars game. These are the words why KOTOR 3 doesn't exist, because it had to be KOTOR Online, and it couldn't just be Elder Scrolls 6, it had to be Elder Scrolls Online. Live service has become the biggest killer of creativity in the industry by far. Game development seems to have shifted towards being results-driven as opposed to fun-driven. We see this attitude time and time
Yep.
again, as far back
The soul is just gone.
as
It's that simple.
2012, when guess who? EA again. President Frank Gibeau said, "I have not greenlit one game to be developed as a single-player experience. Today, all of our games include online applications and digital services that make them live 24/7, 365. In other words, if we can't make this game a live service, then we won't make it at all."
Why? Because fuck you, give me money!
You know BioWare? Yeah, that company that was renowned for making single-player RPGs. Hey, give them an MMO FPS and let's see what happens. This idea that every game should be a platform or a service isn't exclusive to EA, but they seem to be the ones most convinced this is the only option for the future. Like, did anybody ask for Assassin's Creed to be live service? Like, isn't it enough that they already make the damn things once a year? Game development has been heading towards this homogenous blob where like every game looks the same and its menus are the same and the way you unlock things is the same. With
Yep.
co-op coming to Dead Space 3 and multiplayer rumored for Dragon Age 3, it seems that the idea of solo-oriented
Oh man, I was such a huge Dead Space fan, you know? Like, Dead Space 1 was nearly perfect. Dead Space 2 was still good. Not that great as Dead Space 1, but it still had good gameplay in it. And yeah, but Dead Space 3, man. What a huge disappointment it was. Holy shit.
experiences is now dead to EA, as is variety, it seems. The inexorable march towards video games becoming one indistinguishable mash of gray sludge continues. Live service has radically changed the way sequels are produced, if they are at all produced. Right, Rockstar? Making new games is hard. So let's put all our eggs in one basket and just invest in that. Oh, what's that? We made $8 quadrillion? Yeah. That's a reason why Grand Theft Auto 5 has been on 3 console generations. Don't get me wrong, being a live service is an incredible tool to have at your disposal, but not every game needs to be one. What publishers need to realize is that, like my new vacuum cleaner, it's okay to just make something good and leave it at that. You know, at what point does the idea of providing a service conflict with providing a fun experience? I'll tell you when it affects the bottom line. So, okay, we've established that player retention is the most important factor, right, in a successful live service. We need players, more possibility for spending, more ways we can monetize. Management needs to hit a bottom line to continue justifying this. Again, please subscribe to my OnlyFans. Most systems in modern video games are
Those
focused
pics,
on
man.
maximizing player retention. Once you understand this, everything about modern gaming falls right into place. You begin to understand why social features have been disappearing, why scoreboards are now a hot button issue, why post-game lobbies disband, why you can't vote on maps anymore. You start to realize there's a reason games launch like shit sometimes, and why FOMO has become such a popular acronym recently. If there's a choice between adding a feature that objectively makes a game better and removing it to potentially increase player retention, what do you think the publishers are going to choose? Live service at its worst is the term minimal viable product, as in the bare minimum we can do without getting sued. All we have to do is put out a game that won't get us sued. I feel like this idea of live service has been twisted and warped in the minds of some developers and publishers into thinking, well, if it means it increases player retention, then it's automatically a good decision. Not always. Developers like 343 might see the resounding success of Fortnite and Destiny, so they then try to copy what those games are doing without any regard for how it affects theirs. Same with all those shitty battle royales.
Those games who try to copy, they just fail. They just fail because the better product is already out there. It was the same like with World of Warcraft. Every other MMORPG which came out after that, they tried to be the WoW killer and they tried to copy the World of Warcraft system and they failed miserably. There were still some players around, but it could never topple World of Warcraft. You need to think, you need to develop in a different way to achieve something greater. That's the only way. It's hard, but that's how it is.
Once one person does something really, really successful, then everyone starts copying them. It happens everywhere. We can't allow you to choose what color your armor is in Halo because that conflicts with the service we intend to provide through carefully controlled coatings. Stupid. No, you can't just choose the color red. You need to unlock it or pay for it. In a lot of examples, live service fucks with things that were already fine to begin with. When someone tells me their game is a live service, my first thought is, okay, so shit's getting cut. Instead of prioritizing a fun, rewarding progression system, companies instead bottleneck progression, monetizing it, making it as tedious as possible. Companies have fully tapped into FOMO culture of gaming, and now every major release is scientifically engineered by a group of computer nerds to be as addictive as possible. They've mathematically crafted games like Overwatch 2 to take 327 years to unlock every cosmetic. They have
That's
seasons,
realistic.
limited time battle passes, vaulted content. Get it now, it's in the store today, it's not coming back ever again. Open your wallet, bitch. Right, like I could obsess over the stats of my own channel, or I could continue doing what I think is fun for me and my viewers.
I want to blank the cat.
I think just making good content should
The
be
Halo show,
the
man.
first and only goal. Because everything will follow after that. When your profits are directly tied to the number of people currently playing, that creates pressure. Pressure that is only relieved by keeping the engine moving. Keep moving forward, like Eren Yeager. At that point, progression systems become a vessel for retention, not an extension of good game design. In theory, forcing your audience to complete arbitrary challenges is a great way to encourage people to keep playing longer, because you can always make the challenges as arbitrary and difficult to accomplish as you want. In theory. In reality,
yeah.
people don't like being told how to play a video game. How about this? Let's have the most extreme example. Next Call of Duty game. The only way to level up is through a single challenge for each level, and every time it gets more obnoxious. To get to level 2, all you gotta do, stick players with Semtex 15 times in a match. If you make
This is the thing they did in Infinite. This is the exact thing they did in Infinite, and this is why it failed. Because all those challenges were fucking horrendous. Bro, they were just so annoying to do. Like, you don't want to do that. You just want to play the fucking game and want to progress normally, even though it may take a bit more time. If that's a possibility, that's great. But they couldn't conclude that. They didn't include it.
that
I think they fixed it. I hope so, at least.
progression system, everyone runs around trying to stick you with Semtex, and the game fucking blows. Progression systems can
garbage.
dictate
Exactly this shit. This is the Infinite shit. Destroy an enemy Wraith in PvP. They never spawned. I've never seen a Wraith in PvP. Like, holy shit. I've seen it, like, a few times, but it was at the end of the game when it was already over.
how people
I think we fixed that as well, but yeah. I
play
don't know.
a game, and if you mishandle
Boring.
that, it fucks it up.
Boring
Live service
challenges.
also, as we all know, leads to the restriction and drip feeding of content. But live service can also make games far more complicated than they need to be, like Diablo Immortal with its 800 different in-game currencies, or League of
Bro.
Legends.
The Diablo Immortal thing was so obvious that it was a total scam. I don't know why people even raged about it. Like, yeah, it is a mobile game. It is going to be the hugest game in human history. And if people still buy into that, like, I don't really give a shit anymore. Like, go ahead and waste your money, I guess.
That honestly didn't need more than 120 champions. You could have stopped there.
To be honest, I think it's great right now with League. The constant updates, the innovation, the huge balance changes. I know it is fucking annoying when some broken piece of shit champion comes out or something new gets completely unbalanced and shit. But that's how it is. But still, all in all, in general, League of Legends at the moment is 10 times better than it was back in the day, from a balance perspective.
I remember when my buddy brought over the game.
Do you remember the Kassadin win rate back in the day? If you have played. I don't want to go back to those times, man.
7 Days
I
to
don't wanna.
Die after it came out. And all I could think was, holy shit, dude, you just got scammed. Like this video game is so bad, it's a scam. It was one of the most unfinished games I'd ever played. And I didn't have the heart to tell him. He was like, yeah, it's pretty bad now, but I hope they can fix it. And I sat there and I was like, homie, why are you playing something that don't work? I don't care if you plan to make your game better. If it doesn't capture my interest when I play it, I'm out. I'm a human being with limited time on this planet. I'm not gonna waste it eating garbage. Sure, Sea of Thieves and No Man's Sky, they might be incredible 10 out of 10 games right now, but they weren't when I played them. And I checked out.
Your game sucks. I don't want it.
Gamers have so little patience for failed live service experiments these days because so many are already up and running with years of work put into them. I mean, Destiny had so many updates, they had to remove content because the game was so big. Which brings me to my next point, competition. It's fierce.
Yeah, the vaulted content. They didn't really remove it because it was like in a cycle, I think.
At providing a live service grants the highest of highs, but failing, this is just sad to watch. Fallout 76, Anthem, Halo Infinite, Evolve, Marvel's Avengers, Battlefield 2042. The graveyard of failed live service games is big. There's a lot of graves out there. Lots of games with high aspirations that promise the world and more, and yet failed to deliver. It's unfortunate that live service games now have this expectation of launching broken and missing content. Sometimes I can accept that. If the premise of a game is so good that I want to stick around, I will. You know, Battlefield 4 was broken for like 2 weeks to a month, but at the end of that tunnel is arguably the best Battlefield in the series. After release, you need a dedicated team right off the bat on the racetrack ready to keep the go-kart moving. You've started the engine. Now supply it with fuel and oil. Call of Duty, despite all of its problems and everything I bitch about, has always been really good with updates and bug fixes. You know, Vanguard might blow ass, but they added a pause feature before 2042 gave us a scoreboard.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Look at Overwatch 2. Blizzard has already had to disable 3 different heroes because of glitches. Like,
like Bastion was first removed, and Tourbillon was locked out from ranked, and now we got Mei. She was also completely removed from the game. Like, insane.
Sorry. Weren't you just re-releasing the game you had before? You can't let that happen in a game where heroes are balanced a certain way and how they fight each other. A live service should never be, we launched the game, now stay tuned for when it's playable. Because the store is always fully intact, no issues whatsoever. Live service has become the excuse developers use when they say fuck it and turn in their essay that has 3 sentences written. It's why so many games are allowed to release unpolished, incomplete, and downright busted. And notice I said the word allowed, because people have to approve this shit. They know what kind of game they're putting out. You don't think homie right here knew what Cyberpunk was gonna be? Huh? Think again. Look at it. Look in his eyes. He knew.
Myself and the board are the final decision makers, and it was our call.
How can you lie like that? Like,
the game. Although, believe me, we never ever intended for anything like this to happen.
This is Satan. This is fucking Satan.
She pulls my trigger,
very immersive.
Like I said, back in the day, you made a shit game? Sucks to suck. Time to move on. You can't do nothing. Now we need to make a new game that's not a dumpster fire. That was the pressure back in the day. You have one shot. Wasn't always the best, but, you know, gave us Halo 2. Without the luxury of fixing it later, developers were forced to make games great on day one or not at all. If you can't hit the ground running, if you keep overpromising and delaying features and putting out irrelevant roadmaps, then you fall dead in the water. A victim of countless other live service games doing what you're trying to do, but better. And gamers also have to think, wait a minute, should I even invest my time grinding the progression system or getting a rank when I have no idea if they're gonna pull the plug on this in a year or two? Every time I wake up, I'm thankful I didn't play Anthem. And if you're really shady as a company, you can use the live service to test egregious monetization and then change it quickly if you get backlash. Call of Duty's they're not gonna release the anime skins just yet, but they will, because they always do.
Yep.
Live service is often an excuse to give players less than they had before. Halo fans should not have to wait over a year to host custom games with their friends. Call of Duty fans should not have to wait for a competent user interface. Battlefield fans should not be forced to wait for an actual Battlefield title when DICE fucks it up. Overwatch fans shouldn't have to wait 50 weeks just to get one legendary skin. If games don't succeed to expectations,
That seems reasonable.
the budget gets smaller. Members of the team move on to other projects. Promised features get pushed back, eventually cut, and all the people who held out hope for the game lose faith, and the well dries up. When a game turns into a live service, it can blur the line between when it's complete or still a work in progress. At what point should a developer stop updating and meddling with their own creation? League of Legends was once my most played game, but now, so many of the champions I used to love playing have been completely reworked. For better
Yep.
or worse, I can never
But yeah, that's pretty bad for those who played those older champions and then they go to reworked. I think most of them really needed a rework. It was important, but for some of them, they could have just done something like a visual update, and where maybe they could have altered the OG abilities a bit. Like, for example, with Galio right here. I think it was completely fine. They could have just dialed up his numbers or something, or maybe changed one or two abilities, but his core gameplay was completely different after the rework. It was an entire new champion, and old Galio doesn't exist anymore. That's a sad thing.
play the old Galio I used to love. And that's
AoE
another thing.
taunt,
The skin
man.
I bought
Exciting.
for him, I didn't know they were going to change the hero. You know what I mean? Now that skin isn't worth anything to me.
Yeah.
Game Pass, Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus, Nintendo Online. Gaming as a service isn't going anywhere because it makes the most money that way. So while there are a lot of benefits to live service, most games aren't able to capitalize on them. Instead, they fall into all too common pitfalls of getting too ambitious, releasing the game broken, having egregious microtransactions, and anti-fun design. Because if the game sucks and everyone stops playing, then who's the live service for? So thank you all for watching. Hope
Good
you
question.
enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe to the Act Man for
Yep.
more awesome content. And don't forget to check out the Grand Mafia. Get your Stromboni up in there.
Okay, great video and all. But I just feel sad after watching this shit. When you look at the gaming industry right now, every single time, man, I'm just disappointed. But yeah, if you wanna see more of this shit, then subscribe to the Eggman. If you wanna see more reactions, then subscribe to me, obviously. And that's actually it. I guess see you next time. Wafer out.